today's my topic of discussion is productivity, technology, and change for. Well, as you know, it is it we have just we are coming out of the pandemic, and certainly this is where we really have to focus on innovating, not just with ourselves, but our processes, our systems, and of course, the most important thing is, are we achieving the mission of what where we work at, or whether it is at the company or whether it is at for the organization. This is what is basically we need to really look into. So, could you move into the next slide, please? So, about let me briefly explain about the Institute of Productivity. The managing director and co-founder is Mr. John Heap, who is present with us. The CEO is Dr. Mike Dillon, who has been working with the World Bank, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, and Food and Agriculture Organization. So he has been the international productivity expert consultant to these UN organizations, and he's implemented the consultancy work for the emerging economies. So whether it could be the Southeast Asia, or whether it could be Bangladesh or Pakistan, and now he's working with India as well. And in fact, when Uganda, he had initiated the national fisheries program with in partnership with UNIDO. So Mike Dillon is our CEO. Then the business development executive is Tracy George, who has got immense experience when it comes to with the consultancy and improving the small and medium enterprises in manufacturing and fisheries sector. So for John, I don't have to actually give you guys any introduction. So we have a very small bunch of team working out, not just developing the content for the schools, for the institutes, for universities in upskilling programs for their skills. Also, consultancy, where we really focus in improving, getting the work done is what we try to do. We also have quite a set of books which has been developed by Dr. Mike Dillon, Mr. John Heap, and recently Mr. Remy and John also co-authored the book on organizational productivity, which is really exciting. I think the most important at this particular time is the organizational development. So what we really have to look in is at this particular time is how can we judge social innovation? How can we monitor social innovation? So this is where we are not able to really understand, because the most important thing from the earlier presentations were, yes, we need to utilize the tools, we need to utilize the applications which are available. So it is whether we do it work from home or whether it is at the office. Yes, this is how we try to achieve it, to get the optimum results or the outcomes. But further to this, what is the link, actually the link between productivity crisis and innovation? So what is that we have learned is what we actually have to do. For example, with an example we could actually take is the health sector itself. So the health sector, what kind of illnesses we have, what is the data, what kind of data do we have at the moment? Most of the people cannot be hospitalized, and how we could actually make these people get to know what the exact understanding is with the data. So certainly big data and analytics, how are we able to get these things into our mobile phones, and make sure the user is able to monitor, the user is able to know that this is what he's standing for, and this is why he's standing for. So these are some of the things, from this crisis, innovation has to actually take place. So when it comes to the what kind of technologies do we have? How we could actually go for these technologies? Yes, we are in the virtual world at this moment, but when it comes to the reality, it is where how a technology could actually work with the human, that is the machine to the machine with the human being. How will the machine learning will happen with in context with the people who have got probably 20 or 30 years of experience in that particular process? How is this machine learning or this automated system will actually only help in delivering or improving the process output? So these are some of the things which we really have to look for. And Remy, if you could stay on the previous slide, please. Yeah. So what we really need to address is the issues throughout the value chain. As you know, we have actually been disrupted with the current situation. So we need to make sure the value stream mapping is thoroughly being done, and we need to identify the kind of improvements which has to be made. Yeah. Well, next slide, please. So this is where the real balance of the work life has to be looked into. The smart employment is something which is what in this digital world we have to really get used to it, because the prices differ. So when we consider an e-commerce website or e-commerce company, so each company has got different price variations. But on what basis are these price variations? Is that they've got too much of money which they are giving the discounts, or is it because of the large number of customers who they have within their network? So these are some of the things which we really have to look into in terms of the organizational performance. But when it comes to the quality of working life, certainly the the e-commerce websites need to have a very strong supply chains, which means that when the persons who go to deliver, they are the ones who are doing the ground running work. They are the ones where we do not want any accidents to happen. We want to make sure there is a safety of the worker. We need to make sure there is the health concerns being taken care of. So all kinds of benefits must actually be provided. Yes, all these things in digital is what we have to actually really start focusing at. So labor innovation workplace. So this is something which yes, because of the automation and the real wage worker who is working daily, who depends on his daily wage. So there's an impact with the automation coming in. So how can the daily wage worker be benefited? Is his job being taken away? Is what something we really need to address. Keep in mind what is that he is able to value add in the automated system, where he is either is just monitoring, or is he just noting down the monitoring of a particular process. This is something labor innovation should actually look into. So needs of increased labor productivity. So how is that we are able to do work from home and office workplace? How are we able to differentiate? So as I mentioned, I think yesterday, if we had a 9 to 5 job everywhere, it would have been very, it is definitely an organized sector. But when it comes to the daily wage worker, once he finishes with 9 to 5 job and he gets back to home, he cannot work. Whereas in the digital era, what we could actually do is how these the daily wage workers could also be inclusive. That is the unorganized sector, how the unorganized sectors could actually come in with the organized sector and learn what is that they could do. Certainly it is only the skills they could learn, and how we are able to transfer those skills, how are we going to train those skills, is something we could actually focus at in improving the labor productivity. And the societal challenges is something which is very, very important in terms of implementations, where we have where we could actually look for smart employment. Global competition is always healthy, where we know the best practices, where how the best practices are happening for the organized and the unorganized sector, what are the technology enhancements which could actually be put into the unorganized sectors, and how they could actually be complementary and beneficial to the unorganized sector is something where we could seriously focus on improving the smart employability. Yes, Remy, if you could go to the yeah. So now for that is what we need to actually respect each and every minute. We have to go by what is that we are able to get the work done is what something we need to really identify, so that it could be at a strategic level or it could be at a tactical level. So what are the kinds of the tools and applications are we using, and how is that we are able to identify the bottlenecks in not getting the work done. And the important focus is how is that the development of these small minute tools and applications can actually impact in developing a larger infrastructure, in developing the ecosystem. So this is something which we have to really be focused at. And we also need to know how we are able to work with the business performance of the companies and the organizations. How are we able to value add using these tools into the companies and organizations, which will impact at the micro level, so that it is much easier to monitor, and how we could actually undertake. And so make the case for productivity development as a synthesizing process best undertaken on a holistic, integrated basis across the whole operations of a business. So this is the most important point, where the reason being holistic approach. Most of the companies or organizations, they're just focused with the profit, not on the most important thing is the holistic approach. So they do not give that much importance, as what John also mentioned. We are not supposed to call human resource, but rather a talent manager. So if we could actually get these things sorted, these are a very simple soft skills which could actually be implemented before we take up into the real business performance. Next slide. Yeah. So immediately, what we are actually discussing for the post pandemic is, we need to look into some of the most core improvement sectors, where we could actually create some of the awareness programs. So if we could, if working with the IPBIM, we would definitely want to make sure that have international taster programs in say go to UK, and you visit a particular university for 2 days, look into what is that they have been doing with the post COVID-19 situation. Also visit industry clusters. It could be space, it could be food processing, it could be fisheries, it could be manufacturing. So spending these times here, it would be very, very well learning lessons and unlearning lessons and the best practices from the region. We could also visit the heritage sites which are there for which has its historical backgrounds and monuments. So certainly it would be a very, very exciting and learning for the senior management teams. Of course, your students also are welcome to take up these programs. One of the most interesting things I had earlier discussed with Remy was having space programs as well, more focused with science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So it could be for the school children, it could be for the institutes or universities, where the students get the early hang of the program, and they could actually get into the core technology sectors. Of course, we need to make sure how we could improve the technology agriculture sector using technologies. Then water management is something which is very, very important. So we could certainly look for certifications from the academia. That would be the directors, deans, principals, everybody. And from the government, it could be senior government officials, or it could be from the industry, whether it is their CEOs, managing directors who want to get certified, learn these new skills in which they could go for the implementation at their company level. Next slide, please. This is my last slide. Yeah. So These are my contact details, and also we have a small group IOP on WhatsApp. So if you wish to join, you could join us. So certainly we look forward for further discussions in terms of productivity and implementations and knowledge transfers. Thank you for your time.